Hello and welcome to a special edition of Modeling Life in Cars. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing and demonstrating some of the multiple glues that are available to you as a model builder. Building a model for the first time can be quite challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Occasionally, we'll make these side episodes to show you how to use certain products or tools that make building models easier and more fun. The first time that you build a model, you'll probably pick up a glue like this. I certainly know I did about 30 years ago, and I've been using it ever since. Some people have preferences of one glue over another. I like all of them, and I use them for separate applications. Some of the cons of this glue is that it does tend to leave strings when you're gluing, and then when you're done using it, just give it a quick wipe with a paper towel and put the cap back on. And these gluing tips are throwaway. You can get them in a pack of 3 or 5 for less than $2. So I use them until they get full or crusty, and then I just toss them out and use another one. So I'm reminded already I can start to smell the fumes from the glue. Always make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. Keep a door open, a window open, a garage door open, whatever area you're working in, make sure that it's well ventilated. So the next type of glue that we're going to review is also a Testors brand, and it's this liquid cement. It's similar type of glue to the tube cement, except it's a lot thinner. It's pretty easy to control with this little tip that comes on it. This is almost like one of those plastic gluing tips that I just demonstrated built into the product. When I graduated from using the tube cement, this was the next one that I went to, and I used this for probably 2 decades straight. It's probably the one I use most when I'm just building the models, and you can see the viscosity of this one. Sometimes you have to squeeze them a little bit more the first time you use it, but then once you get it going, you can see that it's a bit thinner, and it's literally a liquid that comes out of the tube. I really can't think of any cons of this cement. Like I said, it is a bit pricier. One of these costs probably as much as 2 tubes. That's really the only downside to it, because as far as ease of use goes, this is the one I would recommend for a starting model builder. Next up, we have Testors cement. This is literally just like a super glue branded for modeling. It's very thin. One of the things that I don't like about it is that it dries super fast, just like a regular super glue. I mean, as soon as you put it out of the tube, it's almost already drying. And if you get this on your fingers, they're going to be really sticky. Again, just like using a tube super glue. You have to be really careful when you're using this. But as I said earlier, each one of these does have a specific application that I use them for. Sometimes when I have parts that have crevices that are really close together, or really tight, super glue works great to just get a few drips into the crevice and hold it together really quickly. And coming in right at $5 is this hobby store branded super glue. This one's called Extreme Power. I picked it up at Hobby Lobby, and it's $4.99, and it comes in 3 different versions. This pink one is thin, the green is medium, and the yellow is thick. They're all pretty similar to the Testors super glue that I just demonstrated, but I'll go through and show you the viscosity on the paper. So this one is the Extreme Power thin,
and you can see that it's coming out really fast.
This is almost just like the Testors super glue. Next we have the Extreme Power medium. This one's in a little bit smaller of a bottle, so it's $2.99. It's 0.5 ounces versus the 1 ounce $5 bottle, $4.99 bottle. So you get a little bit better of a deal if you get the bigger bottle, if you do like using these.
But here we go with the medium.
You can instantly see the difference between the medium and the thin. I'd say the medium is much more similar to the viscosity of the liquid Tester cement that we demonstrated. That would be this one. And then finally we have the Extreme Power thick, and thick it is. It really comes out pretty slow. So for all of these super glues, we also have what some people call kicker. This one I picked up at Hobby Lobby as well. It's that Extreme Power brand, and it's called accelerator. But again, most people just refer to it as kicker. And what you do is you take the spray and you spray it directly onto your super glue, and it creates a chemical reaction that almost instantly dries the glue. So there are some instances where you might have a very small part or 2 parts that don't want to fit together. We're using a glue like this, and an accelerator or a kicker works out awesome. Next up is the Tamiya extra thin liquid cement, and it comes in a bottle like this, and there's a brush applicator that's in the bottle. The bottle is not lying. It is very thin. It's almost thinner than water. Behind the Testors liquid squeezable cement, I'd say this is probably the next most popular one for me personally. It is very strong though, so again, make sure that your area is well ventilated. I cannot stress that enough. And the way it goes on is you just take the brush out, and you literally just brush it on the parts that you want to apply it to. And it's highly controllable. It's really thin, so you really can't screw up putting it on. And another great thing about this type of glue is it dries almost completely clear. You barely see it at all, so it's great for using on parts that are visible. So the last actual glue we're going to cover in this episode is this Testors. It's similar to the applicator like the liquid cement. Works about the same way. It has a top that comes off. It comes out really fast though. And what this glue is used for is for windshields and clear parts. It dries completely clear and you can't see it. One of the things I always did when I was first building models models would get too much glue up around the window, and then you got the telltale sign right up there at the top or bottom where you glued it on, and it just makes it look terrible. So spending a couple bucks on a glue like this that dries completely clear, it makes your windows look great. So there's one more glue that I'm going to cover, and I don't really use it to build models personally, but I use it on this show quite a bit. It's this glue gun. This thing is so great for putting things back together quickly. Sometimes when we really need to get another extra shot and we just don't have the time to fix the model, we'll go ahead and just use this glue gun, put it right where we need it, and works great. It doesn't look good. It puts out a lot of glue. I mean, you could possibly take the time to squirt some out, but it's not really worth the effort when you have so many other great choices. But again, in a bind, or if you're making a show like we are and you need to do something really quick, a glue gun like this can really come in handy. So we use a lot of models on this show, not just for actually building on the episode, but behind the scenes we use them for stunt doubles and for test cars. And I got this 83 Hearst Oldsmobile just for that. I had a buddy that actually had one of these in high school, and it was a pretty awesome car. The parking lot at our high school was enormous. It was a trade school, and they knew most people had cars, so they made plenty of room out front for parking. We would get there early before anybody else, and it was really quiet and desolate in the morning, and we would play bumper tag with our cars. Now, boys and girls, once again, I do not recommend this. We would actually chase each other around in the parking lot, doing about 10 to 20 miles an hour, and just lightly tap each other's cars and tag you were it. And then that person would try to tag the next person. There were 3 or 4 of us that would play this stupid game in the morning. Very dumb, just led to more work on our own cars, and it was highly dangerous. So again, do not attempt. So now I've got a couple pieces of sprue here, and I'm just going to demonstrate some of the different glues on each one. So I've just cut off the engine block off of the sprue, and you can see that it goes together just like this. It fits together really nice. You almost don't even need a glue. So in this type of situation, this is exactly where I'll use something nice and thin like this, put it on quick, it'll dry, and I can move on and start painting it. So I've got my engine block glued together, and now the heads are going to go on top. And this is a perfect example of it when I like to use tube glue, because the part has a little bit of weight to it, so if you use the thin stuff, they tend to fall off as you're putting more parts on them. So I'll use either the tube cement like this, or again, my favorite, the liquid cement, where I'll just go ahead and put some of this on real quick here, and then put my heads on. I demonstrated that I like to use tube or liquid cement to put the engine block together, and then I'll use the thin cement for the heads. But putting on this tiny little exhaust manifold, I put it on the side, and you might have seen in some of the episodes that it just keeps falling off, that it just keeps falling off, that it just keeps falling off. So this is an instance where I would like to use one of these super glues with an accelerant.
Small parts like these exhaust manifolds are always a pain to put on. Even using a pair of tweezers, I'm still having trouble. Here's the accelerant I showed you earlier. A couple quick sprays, and wait a couple seconds, and the parts are instantly bonded. Here I'm using my tweezers as a pointer so that you can see that the exhaust manifold is almost fully secured within seconds. So that takes us to the end of this quick episode. I hope you guys enjoyed our glue review. Be sure to comment below if there's a specific review that you'd like to see. If you do nothing else, be sure to click the subscribe button above and check out some of the other videos on our channel. Thanks for watching.